cults, they exist. We went to Germany, and just when we got there, one of the first things that happened was this sweet old lady who started talking to my girlfriend while I was in the bathroom, and she gave us these little. This is Dutch, so it's kind of hard to read for you guys, I suppose. There you go. You can read that. Morning surrender prayer. So Christian, holylove.org. I don't know. But she was showing me this website where basically she was saying that she had these books next to her bed and they all had this red symbol on them. And it was supposed to be the red symbol of the holy truth or something like that. And that any other book except for the Bible, which didn't have them, was Satan trying to spread lies. And I don't know, obviously you run into these kinds of people every now and then, but I still think it's very interesting when it happens. And the interesting thing here was that she didn't seem very pushy. I feel like a lot of the time when you run into these people, they're like, oh, do this, buy that, blah, blah, blah. Things like that. But that was the least interesting one. The more interesting one is I've heard many, many times since a very young age, well, very young age, 13, 14. That's young, okay? If you're that age, enjoy. Of Shenyun, which is this Chinese cult which travels around China and, well, I don't think China anymore, but Europe, doing these musicals kind of things. I think that the shows are free. That's kind of how they bring you in. And then they tell you all this stuff. And I remember when I was in Japan and I saw one of those posters for the first time, and I was like, oh my god, guys, it's the cult, it's them. And I thought that was cool, because I always think that kind of thing is very interesting. Cults, UFOs, aliens, that kind of thing. And we were in Germany, and we were walking around, and I saw that they were handing out pamphlets. And hey, I love reading a good pamphlet. Even when I don't believe in it, Jehovah's Witness, I'll still read the pamphlet because I think it's interesting, And what's the worst that it's going to do? Educate me, Let's be for real. So they gave me this, a Falun Gong pamphlet. And it's interesting. So look it up if you really want to. This guy started talking to us about what is Falun Gong, how does it work, and basically what he said. So obviously I haven't done a lot of research into this yet. I really want to, though, because it's very interesting. But he was saying that these people were being persecuted in China, that it was a religion that became big in the 1990s, and then the Chinese government was like, hey, this is illegal now because this group is getting too big. Apparently they were afraid of this group having a lot of influence instead of communism. And there's some really awful stuff that happened as a result that I won't really get into, but, human rights abuses. Not good. But when you read this thing, it's just hey, everything is free of charge, there is some exercises that you can do, it's about a healthy body and a peaceful mind and all this stuff, and it sounds, well, not bad. I mean, as my friends will know me, a very scientific, blah, blah, blah person, but I'll always listen, at least. I usually don't believe a single word they say, but I'll listen to it. I'm not going to be like, oh, this is bullshit. But it seems interesting, and I'm willing to try almost anything that's not illegal. And what they gave us was this. They said, this is a little keychain thing to show that you are pure of heart. Very interesting. I like being pure of heart, of course. But what was also interesting is that he asked for nothing. So he just gave us the pamphlet, he told what it is, he says that the exercise really helped him, and he asked for nothing. There was a place where you could sign a petition, and we were like, well, maybe we will, maybe we won't, against the human rights violation supposedly happening. And my girlfriend said, well, I'd rather read about it first. And he was like, oh yeah, you should, you can sign a petition online, just take one of these cards, it's no problem, just go on online. And then we looked it up in the train just a little bit on Wikipedia, which is not a good source, by the way. Look up stuff not just on Wikipedia, because Wikipedia gets shit wrong. If you ever doubt that, go to the Japanese article of the Netherlands on Wikipedia and translate it, and it will say something about how reformist churches are burned down all the time. which isn't true. Obviously, it's not fucking true, but it says it on Wikipedia, you know? So, look a little further than that. But on Wikipedia, there is quotes from the guy who was doing this, and apparently he's like a raging homophobe, and thinks that women should be in the kitchen, kind of thing. So that's not great. But, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that these exercises are stupid. You know what I mean? So, I really want to spend a lot more time looking into this, but I always think it's so interesting when this kind of stuff happens, you know, like, why? Like, because this guy, he wasn't even, this is obviously a Chinese organization, but the guy who spoke to us wasn't Chinese, he was German. And that just makes me think, because he seems so genuine, you know, how do you get involved with an organization? He certainly didn't look like a homophobe. I wouldn't know, you know, but he didn't look that way. But it's interesting. I think that it's very easy to just push this stuff away and say that it's stupid and that it's bullshit, which I certainly do when I hear, for example, like a video about how the moon landing wasn't real or this stuff. Like, the first time I watched, I was interested. I figured out that I think it's bullshit. I know it's bullshit. So now when I see them, I just push it away. But when it comes to the stuff like this, it's like, well, I don't know that the exercises don't make you feel better. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting and important to keep an open mind, but also very much, you know, you gotta watch out that you don't accidentally ascribe to something which is heinous. I don't like heinous things. I do like you guys, and I like making these videos for you, and I just want to show you a little guy who's missing an arm because they fell. But I don't know if you can see him. Whatever. It's a little xenomorph situation. So, today's lesson is stay open-minded, don't fall for any cults, and if anyone gives you something free, that's nice.